Item: SCP-1150. Object Class: Safe. Special Containment Procedures: all newly identified instances of SCP-1150 must be catalogued and subject to biannual reconfirmation, as per the Safe Category Tracking Procedures of the Aegis Protocol. All SCP-1150 manifesting in D-Class personnel should be housed in standard isolation cells or in dormitories containing only other instances of SCP-1150. Outside of approved testing procedures, D-Class SCP-1150 must not be permitted prolonged, greater than 15 seconds touch contact with other humans or sentient animals via skin contact or through thin or conductive fabrics. Note that this is a cautionary measure only, as SCP-1150 can transfer to unwilling or unaware subjects only in unusual circumstances, such as those delineated in the SCP-1150 Research Log. Description: SCP-1150 are sentient entities with human-like psychology that share bodies with willing human hosts through poorly understood means. SCP-1150 are aware of all behaviors, interactions, and emotional states of their hosts but cannot usually perceive individual thoughts or memories. They appear to be immune to all amnestics, excluding a slight susceptibility to, which is likely due to neurological damage to the host at high doses. While the host is conscious, there is no known means of detecting the presence of SCP-1150, save for the occasional brief appearance of anomalous REM-like EEG traces in some subjects, namely sleep spindles and K-complexes. The Foundation currently tracks 38 instances of SCP-1150, maintains 3 instances in D-Class personnel for testing purposes, employs 2 instances, along with their hosts, and maintains 1 instance in Level 3 confinement for security reasons. When the human host of an instance of SCP-1150 falls asleep, they immediately enter REM dream state. Sleep and the SCP-1150 entity gains control of the host body for a period of 5 to 16 hours. This duration varies with the mental fortitude and willingness of the host and the relative strength of the entity. While the SCP is in control, it acts, behaves, and generally has physiological reactions identical to those of a normal human, albeit one with memories and personality traits different from those of the host. At the end of its period of control, SCP-1150 becomes sluggish and appears to sleep. 1 to 2 minutes later, the host awakes and regains control of their body. Hosts generally report that they are fully rested and are generally unaware of what has transpired while they were asleep. Note, however, that individuals who have hosted SCP-1150 for prolonged periods several years or more, become gradually more aware of the actions of their passenger. SCP-1150 can be transferred from host to host through physical contact. While it appears that almost any skin-to-skin contact is sufficient to transfer SCP-1150, direct forehead-to-forehead contact allows for transfer times as low as 15 seconds. Conversely, transfer takes approximately 4 minutes via hand or foot contact. If the contact is disrupted at any point during the transfer, the entity remains in the original host. Recipients of SCP-1150 report a pleasant buzzing sensation and exhibit a slightly elevated stress response but appear otherwise unaffected by this transfer. In all instances, save those documented in the attached experiment log, the recipient of SCP-1150 must be willing to accept the entity. There are no known means for destroying an instance of SCP-1150. Though they can be incapacitated indefinitely by killing and interring the host. The Foundation first became aware of SCP-1150 on the 27th of June 1982 shortly after the FBI raid on the Kismet Doorway cult in Bloom Hill, Arkansas. Foundation sources within the Bureau learned of a high-ranking cult member in FBI custody with potential SCP properties. The Foundation arranged a transfer to Site-40 due to its proximity to, and there conducted the initial interviews with the entity, currently classified as SCP-1150-1. SCP-1150-1 subsequently assisted in the identification of 3 additional instances of SCP-1150 associated with the Kismet doorway. Addendum. On the 12th of October 2008, the recovery of sensitive documents in a raid on Marshall, Carter and Dark Limited indicates that MC&D are currently employing at least 2 instances of SCP-1150 to infiltrate the Foundation as sleeper agents to obtain classified information on SCPs and Foundation security. These entities are being carried completely unknown to the SCP employee hosts, and are able to see, hear, and experience everything that the host does. It is unknown how these agents are getting information back to MC&D, given that Foundation research has not revealed any outward manifestations of SCP-1150 when they piggyback on an unwitting host.